Hi, May 31st, 2016. I'll be speaking about secrecy in this video. Back in 1961, April 27th, President Kennedy, in a speech to the American Newspapers Publishers Association in New York, said that the very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society. So why am I talking about that today? Well, there's an article on Bloomberg that came out today, the untold story behind Saudi Arabia's 41-year U.S. debt secret. And basically, this secret has been kept for 41 years. It's the agreement between the U.S. Government back in 1974 under President Nixon and U.S. Treasury Secretary William Simon. They went over to Saudi Arabia and got a deal for Saudi Arabia to buy U.S. debt or dollars and only sell their oil in dollars. Because at the time, oil prices had ballooned because of the oil embargo, and the U.S. was running a huge budget deficit, and it needed financing because the dollar had just come off the gold standard in 1971, so it was backed by nothing, just the full faith and credit of the United States. And basically, up until recently, no one knew how much treasury holdings the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia had, and Bloomberg, they issued a Freedom of Information Act request to the U.S. Treasury, and the U.S. Treasury has had to divulge how much Treasury securities Saudi Arabia holds. Before that, the deal with Saudi Arabia back in '74 was that Saudi Arabia would recycle their petrodollars into treasuries, but the U.S. government could not come out and say that the Saudis were doing it. And so, the U.S. Treasury decided to go along with the Saudis and keep it secret. And that's why I'm talking about secrecy, because, in a free and open society, in a free government that the United States of America is supposed to be under, there should be no secrecy like this. It should be all out in public. And you might ask, so what? But, the point is that we've had 40 years of a corrupt fiat money system on the back of this agreement, because the dollar wouldn't have been able to survive as a reserve currency, in my opinion, if that agreement with Saudi Arabia hadn't been made. And I wonder if it would have been made if it wasn't kept secret, because the Saudis at the time, that Bloomberg said the Saudis didn't want, the rest of the Middle Eastern countries know that they were, financing the Americans, because the reason there was an oil embargo is that the Americans helped the Israelis during the Yom Kippur War. But I personally think it might be more than that. I think the Americans didn't want the world to know that they had to actually get the Saudis to support the dollar. So the dollar, you could argue, is backed by the full faith and credit of Saudi Arabia, not the full faith and credit of the United States government. I think that's another reason why. And, because of this lie, the fiat money system has kept going, and it's created so much havoc and trouble in the world, not only economically, but geopolitically, environmental, if you think about it. The world wouldn't have spent so much money that it didn't really have so quickly. Development might have slowed down, even though I'm not against development, but it's artificial in my opinion. So yeah, at Bloomberg at the end, the person who wrote this says, doing the deal was a positive for America. I'm not sure I agree with that, but yeah, it's come out on Bloomberg today, that article, and it was written by Andrea Wong from Bloomberg. So I think JFK was right. Secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society, and that's why it's repugnant, because governments, will lie, and they'll do things that eventually catch up to them. And the petrodollar in this deal, it was a badly kept secret the last few, 10, 15 years. But in the beginning, I think, not many people knew what was really happening. And yeah, quite an interesting story coming out. And I have to wonder, why is it only now that Bloomberg is asked, the Saudis? Why hasn't anyone done this before? So quite interesting. Saudi Arabia again in the news. It looks like officially they don't have as many treasuries as people thought, but many people think they might hold it through other, institutions or other entities. And that's it. If you enjoyed this video, please share it far and wide. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please do. And thanks for watching. Take care. Bye.